Casey Anthony is officially on. The judge denied the defense's motion to dismiss the case, so the founder of Texas Equusearch says Anthony let him spend more than $100,000 looking for Kaylee when Casey knew her daughter was dead, and he wants his money back. With us now to talk more about this lawsuit is the civil attorney for Texas Equusearch, Marc Wites. Marc, thank you for being with us. So tell me how you felt in court yesterday. I'm sure everything happened somewhat the way you wanted it, but what do you think your battle is moving forward?
Thank you so much for having me on the show. Texas Equusearch was certainly pleased with the result at yesterday's hearing, at which the judge denied the motion to dismiss the case filed by Casey Anthony's lawyer, which now means that the case can go forward and proceed towards a trial. And we're looking forward to taking the necessary discovery, preparing the case for trial, and presenting it to a jury.
So you think this is going to move all the way to a trial?
Well, as a lawyer, I don't file any case unless I'm prepared to take the case to a trial. And although the vast majority of civil cases do end in a settlement, and it's certainly possible that this, like any other lawsuit, may end in a settlement, if that's not a possibility, we are prepared to try the case before a jury in Orange County, Florida. Well,
are you really anticipating any sort of a settlement? And I say that because Casey Anthony's already been ordered to pay $146,000 to the sheriffs in Orange County there, the sheriff's department. Everybody knows at this point, as far as we know, she's indigent. I mean, does your client really expect to get any money from her?
Well, first I want to make clear that when I talk about the issue of settlement, I'm talking about it in the context generally in all lawsuits. Whether there may or may not be settlement discussions in this case in the future is something that A, I can't talk about, and B, settlement discussions in all civil lawsuits are privileged or confidential. But to answer your question about what Texas Equusearch expects to gain from this case, the unfortunate reality of this case is that Casey Anthony will financially profit from her conduct. One day, I don't know when that one day will come. It could be tomorrow, it could be next year, it could be years down the road. But one day, we believe that Casey Anthony will unfortunately earn money, whether it be from TV appearances, books, movie deals, photographs, and things of that nature. And whether it takes a day or a year or 10 years, we intend to pursue the case so that Texas Equusearch can recover that money, money that it would have spent, time that it would have spent searching for other missing people who were truly missing, and so that it can use that money in the future for that purpose.
Might Casey Anthony's attorneys, though, try to argue that this is what Texas Equusearch does? I mean, even if she knew that the child was dead, maybe she didn't know where it was. Doesn't Texas Equusearch help look for children who, whether they're dead or alive, are missing? And might they argue that, look, they were just doing their job that they would have been doing anyway?
It is true that Texas Equusearch does search for missing persons and does at times search for missing persons who are believed or known to be dead. But the reality here is, one, Texas Equusearch never would have engaged in the type of search that it conducted had Mr. Miller been told the truth from the start, which is that little Kaylee was dead. And we also must presume that somebody knew where the body was so that there was no reason to conduct a search at all. Second, Texas Equusearch is continually inundated with requests from families all over the country to search for missing loved ones. So they have to allocate resources based on the case and the prospect that somebody might be found alive. That case always gets priority. Here, in this particular case, at the time that Casey Anthony and her family were pleading with Mr. Miller, telling him without question that Kaylee was alive, they turned down requests from other families to conduct this search. So yes, Texas Equusearch might have chosen A, not to do this search at all, or B, to have done it in a very different manner with far less expense and far less people had they known that unfortunately the young girl had already died.
Marc, is this just against Casey Anthony? You mentioned her parents. Do you cite them at all in any way?
Her parents are not defendants in the civil lawsuit that we filed, but their participation and presence and statements are certainly a key part of the allegations that we made in this case. This case is about a fraud based on a misrepresentation and a fraud based on an omission. The misrepresentation, of course, are Miss Anthony's statements to Mr. Miller that her daughter was alive. The omission is that Miss Anthony stood by and listened to her parents tell Mr. Miller that the young girl was alive, when Casey knew, in fact, that that was not true. So she both said something that was not true with the intent to deceive Mr. Miller and Texas Equusearch, and remained silent while someone else did the same thing for her.
All right, Marc Wites, thank you so much for explaining to us your position, and we'll certainly be watching this closely as well. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. A hearing this afternoon